greeting my wonderful family at the Full Factor podcast. Today, like I announced it to you already in the beginning of this week, I have this most amazing, I call it the guru of the real estate. And you would know why, going through this interview. And I had the honor, okay, to today interview Miss Cherie Gottshall. And I will let her say a little bit more about herself, and then we can get to know her and understand, how she was able to achieve so much, in this very complicated industry. So, hello, Cherie. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Well, I am a realtor. I've been in real estate for, oh my gosh, 18 and a half years. 18 and a half years. I started in 2006 before the big crash, I guess.
Mhm.
And it was just a passion of mine from like day one. And I absolutely love helping people with it. It's just something that's just dear to my heart. It's not about numbers or it's just about helping people. And, there were times in the beginning where I would get the file and take it back and I would forget to get my check because I was so excited that we were able to like get their dream house and we were at the closing table and everybody's so excited. And they're able to like move their kids into, a better school district or, be able to move closer to family or, get their first investment property, like whatever it is. I was just always really passionate about getting my clients to their goals. So, and that's kind of what drove me to where I am today, still, where I actually own my own brokerage.
Wow, congratulations on that achievement, actually. So I know you, Cherie, and so you mentioned that you are a realtor. So we have, probably folks listening, but they don't really understand what a realtor is doing, and you also have your broker agency. So can you please describe to us exactly what you do?
Okay. Well, I always say that we are kind of like the analogy I would use is like a captain of a ship. You don't need a realtor to purchase, an investment property, land, or a home, but we help navigate those transactions to get you from point A to point B with the least amount of stress as possible. And that's the key. There are times where it's very smooth sailing, everything falls into place and falls into line. And then there's other times where title issues will come up, or there's boundary issues, or there's issues with the property itself. The inspections come out bad, it needs repairs. Like there's all these different things that could happen and could go wrong. And as a realtor, it's our job to make sure that we help our clients navigate all of those tricky things that could make a deal either blow up or that could cost them thousands and thousands of dollars, if it wasn't fixed, but we do try to help navigate everybody through the process. I had somebody one time that had kind of gave the analogy that I was like the captain of a ship, navigating them to port, and he's like, there's a hurricane coming. You got to help us. We have to get to the closing table. And, and they have so many other things going on. They say that the five most stressful times in a person's life, moving is one of them. And
Mm.
usually when they're moving, they have one of the other four, whether it's a death in the family, they're, making their family larger. If they have a job relocation, they're moving. If, there's all these different factors that come into play with things that are going on in our private lives, and a move usually follows one of those. So the stressors that you have as a buyer, even a seller, when you're dealing with all those other life stressors, you don't need the hassle of what's going on with the sale or the purchase of your home. You have 47 other things that you're worried about, that you're working on. You don't need to be worried about all that other stuff. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you navigate that and to get you where you need to go with the least amount of stress as possible. So I took it upon myself to get further educated. So I do have my broker's license in Pennsylvania, and I received several designations as well. So a lot of people don't know what that means, but it's just kind of a couple extra letters behind my name that shows that I've taken a little bit of extra time to, educate myself further. I have a certified residential specialist. I have the military relocation. I do short sales and foreclosures, which when I started in real estate, that was a really big thing. But even now that helps me help clients navigate the short sale process. Like, if people are behind on their mortgages and they might, face foreclosure, that we can help them navigate around that and possibly avoid that if possible. So there's a lot of that goes into that. And that's why I decided to get that extra education. And then I also expanded where I got my license in Florida. So not only Pennsylvania, but in Florida. And then I got my, did my broker's license in Florida, and I opened my own brokerage. So I own a brokerage in Brevard County. It's Iron Valley Real Estate Space Coast. So, and here we are.
Thank you, Cherie. So I love it because you literally saying like you are the captain, of this wonderful boat that is like the journey of real estate, of owning a real estate. I want to call you a one-stop shop. Just because you went above and beyond and adding an extra. You like a PhD doctor in the real estate world, and I love it. It's just so amazing. A lot of time, people just think, okay, I'm just gonna get my license, I'm gonna sell the house. But you say, no, you know what, I want to be able to sell to so many people. I want to be able to help military relocate. I want to be able to help people understand about investing in a house, about moving when they actually moving for a reason. Like you say, it has to have a reason. Like either, you relocate because you have a big family, you relocate for, you have a new job, you just need to buy your first house, getting out your parent home. This is amazing. And even the people that are at risk to losing their house, or maybe some hardship they encounter during the journey, and here you are, willing to help them, hold their hand and say, hey, trust me, I got you. And people will understand moving through the interview. Why I'm so excited, talking to you, because I know you are doing those things. I saw you doing, and I witnessed. I am a product of one of you. But
I
I
always
have one.
say, I got you. I got you.
Yes, you do. And you're not just talking. You mean business. You are serious about that promise. You do got people. I have one question. So you mentioned about having your brokerage company, one in Pennsylvania and one in Florida. I want to know what actually set you apart from like more nationally recognized agencies.
Well, I worked with, when I first got my license, I worked with a very small family-owned boutique brokerage. And I ended up going to another small brokerage. And then I went and expanded to, I worked at one of the top REMAX offices in the country. They actually had accolades for years that they were the top in REMAX, the top office in the country. So it was sort of prestigious to work for them. And, I had the big name behind me, and I started a team under them. And I'm not going to say I didn't like it. I really loved it. And having that REMAX brand behind me, I felt like I felt at the time that it was a big thing for my career. But what I realized is, as an agent, not that I'm not, trying to, knock the Remax brand because, I did love it and I worked for them for a long time, probably about almost 10 years. But as my career was evolving, I realized that the money that I was giving them, even though, there was a lot of support and a lot of things that, that they had to offer, I just felt by going to the Iron Valley brand, it put more money back in my pocket as an agent. And I was able to take that and help my family a little bit more, plus help my clients because I could spend a little bit more money on marketing and advertising. And I realized that Remax didn't sell the houses, I did, if that makes any sense. So,
Yeah.
I really came to the realization that people don't call me because I'm Remax, they call me because I'm Cherie Gottshall.
Yes.
And it's not going to matter what office I work with or what agency I work with. People call me because it's me. And I just decided to align with Iron Valley just because I align with their goals, with their business model. And I believe as an agent, it's just kind of a no-brainer. They offer 3 different commission plans that the agent can pick and choose what works for their business and their lifestyle. And it's not a one, like trying to fit like a round ball into a square peg kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So it's very flexible when it comes to the agents. And I loved it so much that I decided to open my own. Now in Pennsylvania, I don't have my own brokerage. I work under, so I work with Iron Valley of Central Pennsylvania, which that office is located in Hershey. But I work like Schuylkill County, Luzerne County, Carbon County, like I work the other counties just because that's what I'm familiar with, but I hang my license with the central PA office.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So, Sherry, I have a confession to make. So, this is a very difficult journey personally because last year I decided to try and be a real estate agent, and I did pass. I did the classes online. I passed the test online, and I was excited. I was like, oh yeah, I got my license, but I didn't yet because I had to go to a different process to do the actual national test, and I failed 5 times, lady, like five, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but like 1 or 2 point every single time. So I know it's not easy, and I think after the interview, I'm gonna have to talk to you about that because I'm still interested in doing this. But and I also know a lot of agents working for other brokering agency. I know I'm very accountable. I like to be very honest. I felt this is the first time in my entire life that I ever did something that I failed at it. I never experienced failure on that level. You do a business, it doesn't work, but you always got some type of success. But that's my first test. I passed my driver license one time. Every diploma or certificate that I ever had, I never had to do it twice. This is only 5 times. This is horrible. I felt like ashamed. I was coming home. I was like, how am I gonna decide to, talk to my kids about doing good at school when I can't even pass this little creepy test?
You know what? And
Mm,
I passed all of mine the first time, but what I will tell you though is there's a lot of people that have said that, and you're not the only one. But
thank God.
no, but the questions, they are trick questions. Some of
Yes.
they have like 2 answers that are like both of them are really good. Which one do I
Thank
pick?
you.
Which one do I pick?
And
So
they use like an old English. Like I'm barely learning regular English. Now I have to talk, about English in the 1800 century. Come on.
and what they teach you is they don't teach you um anything other than really the laws about everything. So you're learning
Yes.
the laws, but you aren't learning all the ins and outs of
Thank
everything.
you. Yeah.
So yeah, it's and there is so much more to it. I've been in it 18 years and there's times where I learn different things, and I always say, like right here, smooth seas never made a skilled sailor. Never. You can't
Oh,
learn to be a skilled sailor on calm seas. When everything
yes.
goes crazy and things happen, that's when you learn. So
Yeah.
and I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot over the years.
Well, I'm glad you said that. So let me ask you. So for like my future self, do you have any mentorship program for like new agents?
My office, myself in Florida, I do have mentorship. Right now I
Ooh.
am the mentor. But what I do is I bring the agents on and we basically handhold them through, everything in regards to helping them look for clients and how to market themselves and contracts, to review the contracts and to make sure that you understand them thoroughly. It's very difficult when you don't understand the contracts and you're trying to explain it to a client. So we want to make sure that you guys are very confident in being able to explain, the contracts to your clients. And we're not an attorney state. So they're like New York, for example, they don't do the contracts with their clients. In Pennsylvania, we do. We do all of the paperwork. So, it's just very important as a mentor, like even in the state of Florida, because we're not an attorney state either, to make sure that the agents are very confident, very knowledgeable, and they're able to, facilitate, the transaction and make sure that they're protecting their client, with all the legalities that are involved with it. Because, at the end of the day, it's a legal binding contract. So we want to make sure that they're prepared for that.
Wow, thank you.
You're welcome.
So I have another question. Since we're talking about contract and legality and everything, what's going on the news with the non-lawsuit and how has it changed the real estate
I was
industry?
coming. Yeah.
How does it affect buyers and sellers?
Well, to be honest, when everything first came out, there was a big to-do in the media. But to be honest, a lot of stuff that was in the media just wasn't true.
Mm,
They tried to say that everything has changed and, now it's this way and it's that way. It's really not much different than it was before. In the state
mm,
of Pennsylvania, for example, our commissions were always negotiable with the seller. It was always negotiable whether they provided a co-broker or not, with whether they paid, the buyer's agent or not. The state of Pennsylvania always had that in their contracts where that was negotiable. Now, there are some states that I believe, and then this is where, all of this facilitated, was they didn't have that in their listing contracts.
mm.
That those types of, negotiation wasn't in there. The state of Florida was in their contracts as well. So, these two states where I work, it was already in place. So we really didn't change much of what we were doing day to day because we already had been doing it. What they wanted to do is what they had agreed to, is basically just to have the verbiage where commissions are negotiable. And it
Mhm.
just needs to be laid out there that everybody knows that they're negotiable. Okay. And the other thing that they had offered for us to do, as part of the settlement, is to make sure that buyers, prior to previewing a home, must now sign some type of either an agency relationship form or a pre-touring agreement or something. Okay. Which in the past in Pennsylvania, we would have like a buyer agency contract, but a lot of times I have to admit, even I myself didn't have my buyer sign it up front because I always felt like it was kind of a get to know you stage. And if the buyer really didn't feel comfortable working with me, I was not going to hold them hostage to a contract. No, to me, it's just a bad way to do business. But now we have where they're kind of expecting us to do that. And it's difficult for the buyers now to kind of like wrap their head around the fact of why can't I just pick up the phone and call and go see a house? Because now we have some rules that we have to follow as agents, and I can't just jump in the car and show you without going
Mm.
over this stuff and having some type of agreement between you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, and myself before letting you see the house. So that's where the changes really come in, is we really need to do that before we are showing you the property. Okay.
Mm.
But there's, you know, and if you're a buyer and you're a little bit nervous about that, here's a couple things you can do. You can ask the agent to just maybe sign something where it's just for the day or just for this
Mm.
property or just for a certain period of time, that you're not locked into working with that agent, you know, for 3 months or 6 months or however long it is. There's also pre-touring agreements that you can just do where it basically just lets the buyer know what our fees are. And if
Mm.
that's the other thing, that, you know, how much, where do we get paid? A lot of people didn't understand that, you know, 95% of the time we got paid from the seller
Mm.
or from the, let me rephrase that. The seller would pay the listing agent X percentage of a purchase price, and then they allowed them to co-broke, which means to split whatever percentage it was with the buyer's broker. Okay. So what this has done though with the media is, because now they're like, "Oh, well, now that's negotiable." Well, it's always been negotiable, but now people are like, "Well, now I don't want to pay it at all." Because if
Mhm.
it's that negotiable, I don't want to pay it. So here we are with sellers now that are saying, I don't want to pay that. So what it's done is it's placed that on the buyer. Okay.
Yeah.
So having that conversation with the buyer and the agreement in place that we have with the buyer is just basically going to say, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, here is what our fees are, whatever percent or flat fee for my services. If you would purchase 123 Main Street or during this period of time, or whatever it is you decide. And if, and only if it is not paid by the seller and or the other brokerage, it would be your responsibility to pay that amount. Okay.
Okay.
And that was what my contracts were before all of this with the buyer. But the majority of the time, like I said, it was a co-broke from, you know, the other agency. So we really never, I think it was very rarely, could probably count on one hand how many times the buyer actually had to pay that in, like, you know, 17 years.
Yeah. Wow.
But now we're seeing that a lot more because there's a lot of sellers now, because of the media. They are like, well, I don't want to pay it at all,
Yeah.
you know? Um, you know, and they have that choice. They have that choice. But what I explained to some of my sellers is, we want, it's your choice, but we
Mhm.
want your buyer to have professional representation.
Exactly.
We want your buyer to have somebody knowledgeable guiding them through the process.
Uh,
Like, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you are selling, you know, your home. You think you're moving. You don't want
Mhm.
to get under contract and have a buyer that has no concept of contract dates and timeframes, and that he has to do title and, you know, get the inspections done in a certain period of time and how to negotiate. And, you know, I don't want to see you not be able to move forward with what you need to do with your life by having a buyer that is not qualified to facilitate that transaction to the closing table for you. So, and I know that's a lot, so I'm getting a little long-winded. But it is something that we have and we use as a discussion just to let them
Mhm.
know what their options are.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So, Cherie, a lot of people don't know that you actually helped me purchase my home where I am right now in Pennsylvania. And I want to share my story right now. So, family, you need to understand what happened. So, I was living in Maryland, and my daughter is she's going to school in Pennsylvania in Wilkes-Barre, college. So I'm very, if you know me, you know that I'm very, 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 I'm gonna say that, stuck to my kids. I love my kids to death. So having my daughter away from me, it was very stressful. Because I remember one time she was sick and I was just panicking, and we literally was 4 hours away from each other. She actually was supposed to go in California, in Stanford, but because of the distance, we have to give up on that great opportunity, and she ended up 4 hours away. So you think it's closer to me? It wasn't close enough. And we decided to move to the area so we can still be close enough where, even if she has the same campus, she can come home, have lunch, or I can do her laundry. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't want to be away from my baby. So we contact somebody online, and the person said, "Well, that I don't cover that area, but I know this wonderful person. This agent can literally help you get to your house." So I was like, "Okay, fine." So here we are. She introduced me to Cherie. I never met the lady. We talk and we automatically connect. I felt that she was very genuine. She was honest. She was clear with me, and automatically she understood what I want. And she was like, "Just tell me what you want. Just tell me what you want, and I'm gonna find you your house." So I'm just giving her thing. Okay, my kids want a pool. We want a yard for the dogs. We want this how many bedroom, and then that's what we want. And we want to be next to that school. That's what I wanted, next to this college. And Cherie found like a couple house, and we drove. I came the first time. I visit one house, and she was telling me about, this is the plus and the count of this home. If you want to get it, we can work it out. Um, After this offer didn't go through, she found more options. At that point, I was like, "You know what, Cherie, I cannot keep driving up and down the road. There's 4 hours. I got work to do. I got stuff to do. I trust you. Just find me a house."
I
And
got,
this lady,
I got you.
yes, this lady went on a journey. And we talking about people don't want to pay. I would have paid her double for what she did for me. She went to so many homes, and then she literally recorded everything and shared her opinion. She was like, "This house is well maintained. This house don't look like this. This is this." She showed me the neighbor. I mean, she was on point. She spent days, weeks looking for the perfect home for me. How much I trust this lady. I literally went to sign for my home. I visit my home the first time after I already have my key in my hands. That was the first time I stepped foot in my house because I trusted her. She understood me. I don't know how to explain to you. You have to work with her, with Cherie, to understand the this captain. This captain is not your average captain. She's like a real captain. Like I'm telling you, she's like the PhD of the real estate. My house was perfect. It was nothing more than I needed or I lacked when I walked in this house. My roof was brand new. My pool was perfect. I mean, my yacht, it was immaculate. I didn't have to do anything in this house. I literally have to just move my furniture, move my kids. I was able to cook the first day. It was nothing. I didn't have to paint. I didn't have to glue this door. I didn't have to replace this pipe. My house is perfect up to today. I didn't have anything major to do in my house. So I would definitely, like, I'm telling you, she know we family. We're not done. We have a lot more to do. We have a lot more to do. My baby's in
I am so
houses, my
glad. I am
family.
so glad you liked it. I am so glad you
I
liked
love it. I love it. It's like nobody can tell me nothing. Like you literally sold me a house on virtual. We did a virtual virtual purchase. And it was the best virtual purchase I ever made in my entire life. I love it. Like I'm sitting in my kitchen right now, and I have this beautiful skylight, on top of me. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Now, I want you to please give the best advice for people looking to buy the first home or the investment property in this economy.
Well, do you know
What can you tell them?
the first thing is to be prepared. And because to be honest, the market is constantly changing and shifting. Like
Mm.
even for people that have been like looking in the last couple of months, and then as they transition like past the election into, when the interest rates, you know, change and things like that, they just want to make sure they're prepared. Okay. And the best way to do that is to contact a local realtor, because a local realtor is going to have their thumb on the pulse of that current market. Every market is different. The market here in Florida is completely different than the market in Pennsylvania, completely different. When you're selling, things sit on the market, different time frames. Obviously the interest rates and things like that, are very similar, but in regards to the market itself, how quickly things sit on the market, what you need to do in regards to your marketing. If you're a buyer, especially a first-time buyer, you're in that price point where everybody else is. In Pennsylvania right now, there's still multiple offers. You need to have somebody experienced that can help you navigate how do you compete with the other buyers so we can get our dream house. So it's all about being prepared for that. And you want to have that competitive edge, and I really, really believe that it matters who you work with. It really matters. I understand that a lot of people don't, they might not know a really great realtor. But if you don't have any suggestions from family or friends, go online. There's review. I tell people, Google me. Everything is out there, good, bad, and everything. But you can go online and you can see all the reviews for different agents, different companies, just to make sure that they're going to be the perfect fit for you. And, interview them, talk to them, see if they understand you, if they're listening to you. If they're more worried about, getting a sale done and not worried about you and your goals, then you need to, keep shopping around. And the other thing is, do you need an agent? Here we go again. No, you don't. But I always tell people I have my own scissors, but I should not be cutting my own hair. That does not mean I should cut my own hair. But you just want to be prepared, and you want somebody knowledgeable. And especially if you're just investing and you're doing like just starting to invest, starting a portfolio, you want somebody who's knowledgeable about that, because you want to create a portfolio that's going to give you that cash flow that you're looking for, or that long-term investment that's going to pay off for you. And if you just have somebody that, it doesn't have their thumb on the pulse of the market, they're not going to be able to get that for you. So you just want to make sure that you, as a buyer and a consumer, you want to make sure that you're ahead of the game with that.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm glad, like you mentioned about, to research your real estate agent, find information, read the reviews, try to understand the person, because nowadays, people think they can do everything on their own. And this is very kind of like a critical time. You really don't want to invest. This is a big investment. Financially, it's heavy. You don't want to gamble with this.
It is
On the
one of
same
the biggest
topic,
investments that a lot of people do in their whole entire life. Absolutely.
yeah. And this is not the time to gamble. This is the time, yeah, to get a professional. I want to ask you also, do you believe AI is affecting the real estate industry? What is your take on this?
Uh, I mean, word on the street is that people think that AI is going to take over. But here's my thing, they've tried some different concepts, on the internet throughout the years, with people that can just go online, post their house, they sell it through this portal, people go through as a buyer through the portal. And here's the thing, it's all great until it's not.
Mhm.
And here we go again with the captain of the ship, because you don't have somebody that's physically there walking you through the property, smelling the property. Most of the agents, they can smell mold a mile away. They
Mm-hmm.
know there's a water problem the minute they walk in the house. You know, they know that they've had animals in there. They know, like, there's just things that we know. Um, it's just, you don't have that with AI. You know, you don't have that relationship and you don't have that expertise of somebody that's been in the business that knows that that crack over there is an issue. You know, that water stain that they said, you know, was an old leak is not an old leak because that's fresh water.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the other thing, and this has happened many a times where I've heard stories, for example, where people have just gone to an attorney, wrote a contract and figured they were good for the day. You know, they go, they close, they go back to the property, the house is a wreck. It's not the attorney's job to go do the walkthrough. It's not the attorney's job to make sure that the seller cleared everything out of the house. It wasn't the attorney's job to make sure that, you know, they didn't destroy the property or replace the appliances with, you know, old appliances or replace the chandelier with, you know, a gross old ceiling fan. You know, things like this, believe it or not, happen all of the time. And by having that agent that's protecting you in person is able to help you navigate all of the things that could go wrong that end up going. And like I said, it's all great until it's not,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know? And it's, you know, I don't want to use the analogy of like travel insurance. Like it might be
Mm-hmm.
kind of a dumb analogy, but everybody's like, why should I pay for travel insurance? Nothing is going to happen. Everything is fine until it's not,
Yeah.
you know, and it's kind of the same thing. I think AI is a great thing. I think it has a place, but I don't think it's going to replace the personal relationships and an in-person, you know, to help with the transaction. And then that's just my own personal belief. And I believe that, you know, as an industry, I believe we're still going to be needed because I think you need that boots on the ground. And you just need that. You need the boots on the ground. You need the sniffing and everything, you know, because you can only see so much. And
Yeah.
I have to admit, I have clients that are like, oh yeah, I just want to write an offer. I saw the pictures online. Oh, no, no, no. I'm going. You know, if you can't make it down, somebody's going. I'm going because there's things you can't see with the pictures. There's things you can't smell. Smell is huge with the pictures. You just want to make sure that you know, that you're protected. It's the boots on the ground.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. So I have another question. Is actually I'm gonna try to make it our last question, and I so appreciate your time. But I want to understand, like, okay, no, I actually want an advice. So what advice do you have for aspiring aspiring real estate agent, and also for anyone looking to join your team? What is like your office culture? So it's like, what advice for those that want to become, and what would be the expectation for somebody that would like to become a real estate agent and join your office?
Okay. Well, our office here in Florida, it's more of a family type culture. We love people that, you know, help a lot of families. So, I mean, numbers are one thing, but we're not egocentrical about that. Um, so it's if people are about the numbers, they're just not a fit for us. You know, if that's solely what they're about. You know, I'm all for, you know, helping people that want to achieve great things. But we're all about client service and about relationships, you know, so and the money just comes, you know, and it's just if you aren't in it to like service and to be of service to people, I think that you're going to have a hard time in the industry. I think a lot of people have misconception about the real estate industry from I think the media. I think a lot of people like Million Dollar Listing, all those shows, I think they've made it glamorous. It's not a glamorous job. It's a fulfilling job. Like in my heart, it's very fulfilling, but it's not glamorous by any stretch of the imagination. And it's hard. It's hard work, and I think by taking on all the stress from my clients, I take on a lot of it personally. And it's a hard job. So if anybody looking to get into the real estate industry, you have to make sure that you realize it is a lot of hard work.
Mhm.
And you do need to align yourself with an office and a culture that fits with your mindset and your personality. We're
Yeah.
not a fit for everybody, you know. Um, I just, I don't hire everybody that comes. I want to, collaborate with people that, have the same type of service mindset that I do. Do I do great things? Do I have great numbers? Absolutely, but that's not what my focus is. My
Yeah.
focus is making sure that, we get you to your destination with your goals, and there are times where, if the best thing for you is not selling your home, we're going to have that discussion with you about what your other
Mhm.
options are, because, I would love to sell your house, but what you're telling me is, there's other options that are going to help you get to where you need to go besides giving up your home. And we're
Mhm.
going to have that discussion. So I, like to have agents on board that are willing to have those hard conversations with the clients and not just throw the sign out in front of the house and have a listing contract. It needs to be somebody that's very empathetic, and that you're able to have those hard conversations and not take the listing. So that's the kind of culture that we have here. And we do monthly events to get the agents together, the camaraderie, everybody works together, we help each other. um and it's just such a warm, feel good environment for me. But I'll just, on the last note, in regards to anybody that's new to the business that is a little unsure and not sure if you should quit your other job, and that's what a lot of people are unsure of. Should I quit my other job? Should I do it full time? To be honest, doing it part-time, and giving it everything you got in that short window of time that you have, if you can't do it full time, is the best way to start. There are times where there's some agents that do more in that short 4 hours that they have available than people that do it full time, because
Mhm.
you're focused, you're laser focused on what I can get done during that time period. But what you have to do is make sure that if you are not available and you're at your other job, you need somebody you could lean on to help each other.
Mhm.
And that's what we've created here with this office, is we do have other agents that have kind of created bonds where, they could just pick up the phone and just say, hey, I'm not available, between, 5:30 and whatever. My client really needs to get in to see this property. And then they figure something out, with whether they do a referral with each other or whatever they figure out, or you do a showing, I'll do a showing. It's up to the agents, but we do have that here where we help each other.
I
And,
love.
I was able to have one of my really good friends who was also on my Remax team, still works with me. And that's what we do. If he's not available, if he has something else he has going on or other appointments, he'll call me. And you met him. He did the walkthrough for you because I wasn't available. I was so upset that I wasn't able to do that final for you. But Randy is fantastic. And when you have somebody that works very well with you and has that same personality and work ethic that you do, it just makes being a realtor much easier. And that's something that when you're looking for a brokerage that you need to look for to help you with that. And it's hard. It's hard in the beginning. And all I can say is, if you love it, don't give up. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up. You.
Yeah. I would not give up. I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna try again and take my test. Because I mean, I follow your work and I can see like, I mean, every week you closing us something and something, you know, great for, you know, lucky seller, lucky buyers. And I can see that you really working seriously. Like you said, and then you show a lot of empathy. So people have to understand that, like you say, it's not just about the money. You're dealing with people, human like you, going through, you know, some certain situation. So you have to be compassionate. You have to show empathy. You have to show that you are human. You have to understand the reason behind it. Even if you want to really sell the house, but if you feel like there's other options for that person, you know, help them look into it. You know, you can make a friend out of this. Don't take advantage of people, you know, knowing that they don't really know about other options, but you feel like, well, I can just sell that real good and make my money. But
Yeah.
yeah, you can still help them keep their house and
Their
stay in their
savings.
home.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and their
and the
savings still.
blessing is this is more important than the money going to your account over, you know, taking advantage of somebody that you could have helped. So this is the thing I love about you, Cherie, because you are a human. You know, you are not about the money. You're very about your client satisfaction, the best for your client. And I love that about you. And I would be always so grateful, you know, for God to allow me to meet you and to be, you know, a part of your people. And I, you know, it's people we know like that. I'm not done with you, and I want more people to have the privilege and the blessing to
Oh,
be in your path, because you truly care and then you really do make positive impact in the people that you meet, and we need people like you. Everybody needs a Shuri in the life.
oh,
So I would post all your information on the bottom of the video, the interview, and I'll invite people to reach out to Shuri. And you know, she's very busy, but she's always return texts, she always return emails, she always return phone calls. So please, you know, reach out to her. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid. Whatever you have going on, share with her your concern, your fears, your expectation, and watch her do work of magic. She's the captain of the boat.
and any questions, it doesn't matter if you think
Yes,
it's silly, any question at all, any question.
yes. Any questions? No crazy question is crazy enough for Shuri. You know, no complicated question is hard enough for her. Whatever, she has very good connection, like she told you about it. She was not able on the day of my closing to be there, but she had Randy. Randy was amazing. Randy is a great guy. Like I'm still, you know, in contact with him. So she has a pretty great team of people, and they all like her. They very nice to, you know, to anybody that comes. That it's not even about customer service no more. It's about, you know, friendship and true relationships. That's the thing I really love the most about, you know, Cherie and her team. And you know, she has relationship with, you know, loan officers, and she has connections, she has information about the, you know, the area. She doesn't know, she will look for it. She literally will find the answers. So just put it on her hand and just relax. Let her ride the boat, you know, through the storm and everything. Just chill out. Take your Tylenol and take a nap. By the time you wake up, you're gonna have your solution. Either you sold your home or you purchased one. End of the story. Cherie got you. That's all I want to tell you. I want to say thank you so much to you, Cherie. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. It's always a pleasure to have you. Um, I can't wait for the next time we're able to sit down and get a coffee together. And thank you so much for allowing me to interview you today. And thank you so much for sharing, you know, great information, and again reassuring buyers out here or sellers out here that we still have great people out here, not about the money, but about making our dreams come true
Making
safely.
a difference. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Bye bye.
Bye. Have a great day.
You too.